Blocks are a great tool to use when you have geometry that's repeated throughout a drawing. In an architectural design, we might use blocks to represent doors, furniture, kitchen appliances, or plumbing fixtures. What do you do if you've inserted a block multiple times in a drawing, and then you decide you'd rather use a completely different symbol? In this lesson, we're going to learn how to exchange one block for another. On my screen, I have a drawing of a proposed high school gymnasium. Let's zoom in on the restroom area. And as you can see, I have inserted several basins into this drawing. Now, each of these basins is a block, and if I select one of these, you can see that this is a generic block called basin counter. When I inserted these, I didn't have a specific basin in mind. I pretty much just used this block as a placeholder to represent where I'd like to install each basin. Well, I have now decided on a fixture that I'd like to use, and I was actually able to download the geometry for that basin from the manufacturer's website. I have inserted one of those blocks over here. If I select this, we can see that this block is named after the basin's model number. To exchange my existing blocks with this new symbol, I'm going to start by inserting one of my existing blocks. I'll select Basin Counter, and I'll click OK, and I'll place this off to the side. I will then select both blocks, and we'll do a little block comparison. Take a look at the insertion point on the original block. Notice it is centered on the symbol, whereas the insertion point on the new block is centered on the faucet. Before I swap these symbols, I need to make sure that the new block has the same insertion point as the original. To do that, I will double-click on the block, and then I'll click OK to bring up the block editor. Then in the block authoring palettes, I will make sure that the Parameters tab is current. I'll select Base Point, and I'll place this to the center of the symbol. I will then save the block, and I'll click the X to close the editor. Now that these blocks have a common base point, I don't have to worry about my existing symbols shifting at all when they get replaced. To replace the blocks, I'm going to go to the Express Tools tab, and in the Blocks panel, I'll select Replace Block. Now, which block do I want to replace? Well, I can select its name from the list, or even easier, I can click this Pick button, and I can select one of the blocks in the drawing. Next, which block is going to serve as the replacement? I'll click the Pick button, and I'll select this block. Finally, since one of these blocks is going to be removed, AutoCAD wants to know if I'd like to purge that block when I'm finished. I'm going to press Enter to accept yes. And as you can see, AutoCAD has exchanged all of my basin placeholders with the actual basin I'd like to use for this project. Most times when we think of block editing, we think about redefining a block's geometry. As you can see, it's also possible to replace the entire symbol with another block using the Replace Block tool.